Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Cracking the GRE Math Subject Test, Linear Algebra chapter. We're on the third question. This question doesn't really require you to do much math. It just needs you to be familiar with some properties of matrices and have this sort of toolbox of special matrices that act in unusual ways. So we're told that A, B, and C are 2 by 2 real matrices, and 0 is the zero matrix. And then we're asked which of these three properties is or are true. And so for the first property, let's see, a squared equals 0 implies a equals 0. Well, that's true for just regular numbers, but with matrices, this is always a good matrix to have handy to try things out on. 0, 1, 0, 0. If you multiply it by itself, if you square it, well, that's just going to be the zero matrix. Okay, 0 times 0, yeah, 0 times 1, 1 times 0, it's all 0. So we know that a squared equals 0, but obviously a is not 0, so this cannot be true. For the second property, well, we can use the same matrix, and as we can see, if we put a equals b, well, we can see that ab is equal to 0. Okay, here, let b equal a. Then ab equals a times the zero matrix. And we're letting c equals 0 here. But b, which is actually a, does not equal 0, which is actually c. So 2 cannot be correct. And for the third statement, a is invertible and a equals a inverse implies a equals the identity matrix, or a equals negative of the identity matrix. Well, this one actually seems like it might be true, because yeah, I mean, the identity matrix is its own inverse, and the negative of the identity matrix is also its own inverse. So the converse is obviously true, but if you try out this matrix, which is also always handy to think about, you can see that when you multiply it by itself, you get 0 times 0 plus 1 times 1, that's 1. 0 times 1 plus 1 times 0, that's 0. 1 times 0 plus 0 times 1, that's also 0. And then 1 times 1 plus 0 times 0, that's 1. So this is the identity matrix. And so we found a matrix that's not the identity matrix, but it's actually its own inverse, because when you multiply it by itself, you get the identity matrix. So 3 can't be true either. So the answer is E, none of the above.